What's happening, everyone? Alex Perez here. Welcome back to VMFC, the final VMFC video of 2019. Before we get fully started with this final video, I would like for you guys to do a couple things for me. First and foremost, subscribe to the YouTube channel right here, youtube.com/veteransminimum. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram at Veterans Minimum. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. We're on Blue Wire as well, bluewire.com/veterans minimum. I believe that's what it is. If not, I'll have it somewhere here on the screen. And what else? Oh, patreon.com/veterans minimum to support the Veterans Minimum brand. You can get merch, you can get special content there from Nick and other good stuff. Stick around until the end of the video because I do have a very, very big announcement. You do not want to miss that if you are a fan of Veterans Minimum and of VMFC. All right, let's get started. So I was listening to the Bleacher Report Football Ranks podcast a couple of days ago, and they talked about their team of the decade, their starting 11 of the decade. And looking at it right now and then listening back to that a couple of days ago, I have to say it is pretty reasonable based on how they pick the players. But what's funny about them is that they picked their players to go up against a zombie apocalypse or like an alien invasion or something like that, and they picked the players with the most chemistry or something like that. So, I mean, basically, it's a La Liga team, and I'm gonna put it on screen right now as we speak. Manuel Neuer in goal, Dani Alves, Gerard Piqué, Sergio Ramos, Marcelo. In the middle, Sergio Busquets, Andres Iniesta, David Silva, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Karim Benzema. That's their starting 11 of this 2010s decade. So I said, you know what? That's a very interesting topic. And now that this decade is coming to an end, I think it is the most appropriate time to make my own team of the decade. And if you hear me sniffling and my voice sounds kind of funny, I've been sick for like the past 3 days. I do apologize if you guys find it kind of disturbing or whatever. It is what it is. I'm sorry. This is really the only free time that I have for these next couple of weeks. So why not? I just have to push through and toughen up, So whatever. Anyway, back to the topic. So I created my team of the decade, my own team of the decade, the 2010s team of the decade. It's kind of crazy to think that 2010 was almost 10 years ago. It's just absolutely insane. But I used a bit of a different criteria than Bleacher Report. And this is my criteria. It consists of 4 specific points. Follow me on this one. The first one, you have to be a valuable piece to your team. You had to have been a starter for a very long time. The second piece, the second part of this criteria is that you played at a consistently high level for 5 or more years. If you were good from like 2016 to 2020 or to 2019, you're not going to be part of this team of the decade. It was only 3-4 years, not enough to make it into this starting 11. And then the third part of this criteria, you won a major tournament with either your team or your country, whether that's Champions League or you won multiple leagues or you won a Copa America or a Euro or a World Cup. You won something with your team. And that's 1, 2, 3. All right. And then the fourth one, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And this one really only to make me work a little harder. I didn't put Lionel Messi and I didn't put Cristiano Ronaldo in here. You might be saying, dude, what? Why would you not put those 2 guys into the team of the decade? Well, simple. It would be way too easy to pick these starting 11 players. I think it would be way too simple. The best thing that I can do is just remove them because those guys took the decade, I think, unanimously. For me, Lionel Messi is the best player in the world. For other people, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. It doesn't really matter. The point being that the 2010s decade was Messi and Ronaldo. So I am removing them from this team to make it fair to other players in that position. All right, let's get started. In goal, I'm going to agree with what the guys at Bleacher Report had. Manuel Neuer. My back 4, I'm going to agree with them again. Dani Alves, Gerard Piqué, Sergio Ramos, and Marcelo. Sergio Busquets is going to earn that defensive midfielder role, although I did have a bit of trouble picking between him and Toni Kroos. So we'll just go with Busquets for now. In a little bit ahead of Sergio Busquets, Luka Modric and Andres Iniesta. They didn't have Luka Modric. I do. And up front, instead of Messi and Ronaldo, I'm picking Arjen Robben on the right, Eden Hazard on the left, and Luis Suarez as a striker. Of course, we start talking about Manuel Neuer, a guy who completely changed the position of the goalkeeper. He became a sweeper keeper in this decade. And not only did he do it with Bayern Munich, he did it with the German national team, and he did it with Schalke. Of course, if you guys recall that Champions League semifinal back in the 2010-2011 season, they were this close to making it to the Champions League final and playing in Wembley. They lost to Manchester United. He's won 7 consecutive Bundesliga titles. That is ridiculous. He won a Champions League, he won a World Cup, and he was third in the Ballon d'Or race in 2014. What other goalkeeper can say that they were that close to winning the Ballon d'Or? No one. All right, Dani Alves. Why do I have Dani Alves in my starting 11 of the decade? I think it's very simple. This guy is still playing at a high level. He won the Champions League at the beginning of the decade. Then he won it again in 2015. He's won countless league titles. And then he won a Copa America with Brazil this past summer. So this guy has been doing it for 10 years. And he's been doing it at a very, very high level. I think we probably shouldn't take too long speaking about him because he's probably still going to do it for another 3 or 4 years. Gerard Piqué, right next to Dani Alves. The World Cup and the Euro at the beginning of the decade. He's been a starter for Barca since 2008. That's kind of crazy. He's the heart and the soul of that team. It's kind of hard not to see a Barcelona without. It's kind of hard to see a Barcelona without a Gerard Piqué. He's very vocal. He doesn't stay quiet when things don't sit well with him. So that's a leader that every team needs, and he's controversial, he's polarizing, but at the end of the day, he says what he has to say. He says what's on his mind, and he is a leader. Speaking of leaders, his partner Sergio Ramos, he changed position actually because in the beginning of the decade he was a right back, and that's what he played at Real Madrid. That's what he was playing in Spain. And he turned into a center back. And not only did he turn into a center back, he turned into probably one of the best center backs in the world and maybe even of all time. At least in Spanish history, he might be one of the best center backs of all time. He won 4 Champions League this decade, 3 of them as a captain and consecutively. That first one that he won was Iker Casillas was the captain, but he did score the equalizer in the 93rd minute against Atletico Madrid. And then Marcelo, similar to Sergio Ramos, won those 4 Champions Leagues. He got along very well with Cristiano Ronaldo when they played at Real Madrid, even though they got into a little scuffle before Cristiano Ronaldo was a Real Madrid player. But I think that's way past them now. Very versatile, great on the attack, a bit of a liability defensively, but I would love to have that guy on my team. Seriously, at any time, any period of time, I would absolutely love to have Marcelo on my team. And then we go into the middle, Sergio Busquets. This guy, another guy that has changed a position. Because before, the defensive midfielder was a guy that had to be a little bit dirty, did all the dirty work. He had to tackle, and he wasn't much of a playmaker. Now all of a sudden, Sergio Busquets can do all of that. Plus, he gets quite a lot of assists, and he is just a very elegant, a very classy player. So Sergio Busquets provides that balance into that Barcelona and into the Spanish team. And he won, of course, those Champions Leagues and the World Cup and the Euro and all of that. So I think that's that's a bit of a common theme with some of these players. They're just winners. Luka Modric, he was great at Tottenham in the beginning of the decade, and then he goes over to Real Madrid, and he was considered the worst transfer of 2012. And he says, "Oh, I'm the worst transfer of 2012. All right, let me just win a Champions League and be a crucial part the next season." And that's what he did. And he has been unstoppable ever since. Just an unbelievable player, a guy that has been playing at such a high level for this entire decade. He had a bit of a downfall in this past season, but that was because um, he played extra time in pretty much every direct elimination game that he had with Croatia in that 2018 World Cup run. They got second place. They lost the final. But regardless, Luka Modric, class, excellent player. And it's kind of hard not to put him in there. My other pick was Xavi, but I think he did it for far less than the amount of time that Luka Modric actually did all of this. Andres Iniesta playing right next to Luka Modric. Again, he is just a winner by nature. He scored the game-winning goal in the 2010 FIFA World Cup final against the Netherlands, and then just kept winning and kept winning and kept winning. Elegance might not be enough to describe this player. It's kind of sad that he doesn't play for Barcelona anymore. He plays in Japan, but regardless, he's just take it for what it's worth. He did it for about 5-6 years in this decade, but still, unbelievable player. I would love to have him in any generation, any period of time. Unbelievable, classy, elegant, would put a through ball to any player almost to perfection. Impossible to not pick Andres Iniesta. And then the wingers, Arjen Robben, incredible 2010 World Cup, even though his team came up short in the final. Just an incredible player. Absolutely incredible. You knew exactly what he was going to do. But what are you going to do about it? You're not going to stop it. You know he's going to cut inside and smack the ball with his left foot, curl it in. And what are you going to do about it? There's absolutely nothing that you could do about those rockets that Arjen Robben would score. And then he had a great 2014 World Cup as well. He won all those titles with Bayern Munich. He won the Champions League with Bayern Munich. He scored the game-winning goal in that. That was sort of a redemption because the year before he had missed a penalty in the final. So it was a massive, massive redemption for Mr. Arjen Robben. His wingmate, is that even a term? I don't think so, but on the left side, we have Eden Hazard, and this might be a little bit controversial. Of course, if that last part of the criteria was not there, it would be Cristiano Ronaldo, the one that would take that place. And I had a bit of trouble picking between him and Neymar because I feel like they started doing it at around the same time. Neymar, of course, winning a Champions League and doing all of that, but Eden Hazard has just been very consistent. He won a couple Premier League titles with Chelsea. Now he's at Real Madrid, and with Belgium, he's the captain, and he's a leader, and he got him to the third place in the World Cup this past summer, 2 summers ago. So how can you not pick him? He's 28. He's probably still going to be doing it at a high level, maybe even if he changes position like mid-decade in the next one, of course. And I definitely think that he will have a very good decade in the one coming up. But this one was very good for him. It was very good. He had 2 massive transfers, and he's doing all right. Although he's injured right now, I'm pretty sure he's in for a very good 2020. And Luis Suarez, guys, for as much hate as Luis Suarez gets, let's just compliment the man for the player that he is. A guy that has been doing it since his days at Groningen or whatever the name is back in the Netherlands. Then he went to Ajax. And then he probably had the best January transfer of all time back in 2011 when he went from Ajax to Liverpool. And he just scored a bunch of goals there. He got tired of scoring goals. He almost won the Premier League title. And he went to Barcelona. If you guys actually, if you guys recall, back when Luis Suarez went to Barcelona, everyone thought that he was going to be a flop. I mean, those people were very, very, very wrong because this guy linked up perfectly with Lionel Messi and with Neymar. He fed them and he took care of them. Not literally, obviously, on the pitch. That's what we're talking about. But still, my goodness, what a player Luis Suarez is. Unbelievable. Just an unbelievable player. Unreal talent. A natural goal scorer. It's very rare that you see those types of players now. He can provide very well, of course. You know, he assists, of course. If you play with Messi, you have to be someone that likes to assist. But regardless, he is probably the perfect striker. I wouldn't want to have anyone else other than Luis Suarez if you were to make me pick. But there are, of course, some great strikers in the world right now, and it's kind of crazy because people forget that he won the Copa America back in 2011 with Uruguay. He won it. And he was a very important part. He didn't get suspended. Uh, he behaved well, and they won the Copa America. So that's what happens when Luis Suarez is healthy and when he is behaving well. All right, and now my alternative starting 11, all the subs for these players. I would have David De Gea in goal. As a right back, I would have Dani Carvajal. Center back, Vincent Kompany. The other center back, Thiago Silva. Left back, Jordi Alba. Center defensive mid, Toni Kroos. It was tough to pick between him and Sergio Busquets. So just very narrowly, Sergio Busquets edges him out, but Toni Kroos, class. Xavi and David Silva would be the two midfielders joining in front of Toni Kroos, and then up top, Gareth Bale on the right, Neymar on the left, and Karim Benzema as a striker. I'm not really going to go through the accolades of these players, but these guys were narrow. They were almost there. Almost there. And if you had to make me change one of these players, I would probably swap out Busquets and Toni Kroos. And those are really the only players that I would really want to swap out if I had to. But yeah, guys, I mean, if you guys are in agreement with this starting 11, or if you guys think that I'm missing someone or that someone should be swapped, let me know at Alex Perez FC on Twitter and on Instagram. Let me know if you have a completely different starting 11, if you have like Julio Cesar in goal or something like that, because you remember the first year of this decade that well. If you guys recall, he had an unbelievable 2010. He won the Champions League there. But yeah, just let me know what you guys think about this, and I'm pretty sure we're probably going to be in agreement, but if not, just let me know. All right, guys, so you made it to the end of the video, and here is the big announcement. Starting January 8th, Wednesday, January 8th, VMFC will become a weekly show. You guys will be seeing every Wednesday an episode of VMFC. I will be the host, of course. Those videos will be available on YouTube. You will be able to see snippets on Instagram and on Facebook and on Twitter and all of that good stuff. But yeah, VMFC will now become a weekly show. And I would like to thank Nick for giving me the opportunity of creating this. He pretty much gave me creative control. And he said, you know what? Do what you got to do and push it as much as you can. This is yours. Do what you want. So there you go. VMFC will now be a weekly show starting Wednesday, January 8th. Of course, we will be talking about the Premier League, the Bundesliga, La Liga. We will be talking about Champions League, Euro. If you guys want me to talk about Mexican soccer, man, I would absolutely love to do that. I don't know how interesting that would be for you guys, but I can definitely do it. Or if you want me to talk about MLS, all of that stuff, please let me know at Veterans Minimum at Alex Perez FC. But yeah, VMFC will now be a weekly show starting Wednesday, January 8th. Full episodes available only on YouTube. You will be able to catch snippets on our social media and all of that good stuff. So yeah, if you want to watch VMFC starting January 8th, it'll be available on YouTube. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all are having very happy holidays. I hope you all are enjoying your time with your family. If you have time off, enjoy it. If it's snowing wherever you are, enjoy the snow. Or if it's beautiful 80-degree weather, I'm talking to you people from Florida and California and all of that stuff. You guys are lucky. You guys are very, very lucky. But yeah, that was my team of the decade. That was the announcement. VMFC, January 8th. Every single Wednesday starting January 8th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me. Take care. Happy New Year, everyone. Goodbye.